Trail talk time. Out on another beauty of a trail. Just breathing in that fresh chi, sending everyone limitless love. And today I wanted to talk about fear and conquering our fears. You know, because that's a big thing that's holding so many of us back in life from really experiencing the fullness that life has to offer. We start to hide in these little shells, in these little boxes, and we're afraid to step outside of our comfort zone, paralyzed by fear, right? Fear can absolutely paralyze us, and we won't move in the direction that we need to. So I think the first step is to, start to pinpoint what exactly are our fears, or the biggest fears that we have that are holding us back in life. Maybe it's a fear around something that we really want to do, but we're afraid to try it out. And it's natural, because oftentimes it's the first time we want to try something, we've never done it before, so we have no reference point, and we feel very uneasy thinking about it because we've never tried it before. We've never been in that experience, so we don't know what to expect. And that can be pretty daunting sometimes, to step into the unknown, right? If we've done something before, we know what to expect, and we can calculate certain things and see what's coming. So obviously it's not going to be as frightening for us. But if it's something brand new that we've never tried, then it's going to be pretty scary to just jump on into it. But that, to me, is the key, is just to really jump into it. You have to kind of shake it off and throw yourself into the fire, or else you're just going to keep talking yourself out of it. The mind is such a powerful thing. I remember seeing this amazing Will Smith interview talking about skydiving, right? I think he was saying he had a fear of heights. And so he decided that he was going to force himself to go skydiving. So he set it all up, he booked it. And the day before and the night before, he's going through everything in his mind, in his head. And he's feeling all the fear, right? He's feeling super duper paranoid and anxious about the whole thing. And it's literally keeping him up at night, right? He can barely sleep the whole night before, thinking about it, how bad it's gonna be, how scary, what could happen, all the bad things that could happen. You start to play out all these negative things in your mind. And he said the next day, he gets there, and it's the same thing. You're on that plane, you're being taken up in the sky, higher and higher. He's got fear of heights, right? So it keeps getting scarier and scarier for him as the plane's getting up higher and higher. And it's getting more real, right? It's getting closer to this time when he's about to jump out of this plane. And of course, in this instance, it's a very risky thing too, right? It's dangerous. Sometimes things can happen and you could literally die. So this is one of those extreme cases, but he eventually gets to that point. He's at the edge of the plane. Whew, and he has to jump. And he says, once you're in the air, it's the most blissful thing of life. You're completely free. You're weightless. You're floating. You're looking down and you're seeing everything. The most beautiful view you've ever seen, witnessing it in real time. And there's nothing that can describe how amazing it felt, right? And then he realized, what was all of that fear? What was keeping him up all night? Didn't allow him to get any rest. It was all just the fear and things that he created in his own mind about the scenario. like I said, you don't know what to expect, so you start to just create all these things, all these expectations, and oftentimes we create all the negative stuff. What could go wrong? The paranoia, right? And then he realized, wow, it was nothing like what I was creating in my mind at all. In fact, it was quite the opposite. It gave me the most blissful, joyful, beautiful feeling ever. And not everything has to be that extreme of an example. But for anything in life, we have to realize that oftentimes it's just stories and things that we're creating in our mind that are stopping us from doing whatever it is that we want to do. And we have to, move past that and move through that and feel the fear and do it anyways, right? I like the term pronoia, the opposite of paranoia, where instead of, creating all of the bad or expecting all the bad scenarios to happen, we're actually expecting beautiful things to happen around every corner in our lives. And we can carry that beautiful vibration. And like I said, it's okay to be afraid. It's okay to feel fear. It's very natural. It's just like a child doing something for the first time. They're not going to be proficient at it. It might be very scary, but we have to have the courage and the bravery to go ahead and do it anyway, to let love guide us and not fear. Because, all of our, beautiful, joys are on the other side of fear, right? And I love what Infinite Water says about fear. He says, fear stands for false evidence appearing real. And that goes back to that story, right? It was all false evidence that he was creating in his mind to think this is what's going to happen, this is how it's going to be. But it only appeared that way after he realized what was real was the absolute beauty of it. And I mean, the feeling after you move through your fears and take that courageous leap of faith, there's no better feeling. It's like, wow, I just conquered my dragon. You know what I mean? I found my princess. I found that happiness on the other side of that journey. And that's such a wonderful thing, to move through that, to move outside our comfort zones, stretch ourselves out and allow ourselves to be more flexible. Because I mean, what's a life without facing our challenges? What's a life of living in fear the whole time and playing small? Picture yourself on your deathbed for a moment. You're at your last moments where it's about to be the end of this life. And you think back on how it went and how you went about living. You're not going to regret those times that you tried and failed. You might have many of those moments in your life. You try and you go ahead and you finally muster up the courage, and then it doesn't go the way that you wanted and you fail. Maybe you don't reach that goal, or maybe you're ridiculed or embarrassed in the process or something, right? Something goes wrong. But at least you went for it. At least you tried. At least you had the courage to take that leap instead of just standing there stuck, paralyzed. You're not going to regret those times. You're going to regret the ones where you sat there and did nothing, where you wanted to do something but you said, no, I can't. You gave yourself excuses, you gave yourself reasons not to do it, and you let the fear stop you, not realizing that it was just false evidence appearing real, right? I like to look at fear like a ghost that sort of appears real to you, but a ghost you can just kind of move right through, and then you realize, wow, that looked so real. How did I move right through that? So think about the context of your life. Think about your legacy. Think about what it is that you want to do in this life and accomplish before your time is up, because we never know when our time is going to be up anyways. So don't waste too much time sitting around thinking about things, thinking about what you want and all the possible scenarios. You know, that's paralysis from analysis, paralysis by analysis. That's what really stops us. You have to have the courage to jump out. And you know, Harry Mack, incredible freestyle rapper, he's one of the best, in my opinion, like the best freestyle rapper. He's always doing that. He's jumping out, you know, he's jumping out without anything written, and he's coming off the top with brand new ideas, brand new rhymes. He doesn't know if it's gonna go well. He doesn't know what he's gonna say next, but he just keeps on going and letting that love guide him and not fear. And he says, leap and the net will appear, right? We're scared to get out of that comfort zone, that safety. But you know, he realized that if you really allow yourself to take that leap of faith, that when you leap, that net will appear for you and you'll be safe. You have to trust in that and trust in yourself and build up that courage and confidence within yourself to say, I can do this. So instead of giving yourself excuses and reasons why you can't do something, give yourself reasons why you can and why it will go well, and all the beauty that you're going to find on the other side of this fear. Because you can really do anything in this life, right? And if you can put your mind to it, you really can accomplish anything. And one thing that I always speak about is visualization, right? If you really want to do something, see yourself already doing it. Put yourself in that scenario and really see and feel what it's like to be in there and feel the joy of doing it, of being there. And then, you know, it'll start to become part of your, you know, your fabric, the fabric of who you are, because it's as if you've already experienced that. You know, when I first started doing performances like open mics and stuff, it was scary, right? First time putting myself out there, I was very nervous, very scared. I was standing there holding the mic on the stand the whole time. I wasn't moving. And you know, it turned out okay. It wasn't my best performance, but I don't think we should expect that from ourselves either, right? You have to start somewhere, and then after it was all done, it was like a weight off my shoulders, like, wow, I did it. I actually did it. And it went better than I expected, right? Like, it was fun. It was a bit scary, but it made me feel good to actually do what I wanted to do despite the fear. And so I wish you all that beautiful feeling, because as I continue to do it, I just become more and more, you know, confident and courageous. And now when I step out on that stage, you know, I don't really feel that fear anymore. There might be a moment where I'm needing to prepare myself and get myself physically ready. There's excitement and everything, but that's exactly it. I turn the fear to excitement, and I know that I can do it, and I know it's gonna go well. And even if something happens, there's been times I've forgotten my lyrics, right? There's been times where I did one of my verses for the song, the second verse of the song, I did it as the first verse for the first verse. And I didn't even realize until after I got to the second verse and I'm saying the same thing, and in my mind I'm like, oh, I just did that one. What am I gonna do? I just kept doing it. So I did the second verse of the song twice. And honestly, nobody said anything. I don't think anyone would have really realized, you know, unless they're really paying attention or if they knew the song. And either way, if anybody realized, it doesn't matter. You're allowed to make mistakes in this life. That's what's beautiful about life. You're never gonna be perfect. Nothing's ever gonna go exactly as you want, so you have to be open to that and be willing to stumble along the way and make mistakes and be imperfect. But be courageous and do what you want in this life, because you're worthy of accomplishing all of your goals and living a happy life and having a happy ending. So yeah, that's it for today. Have a blessed day and a courageous day. Peace and limitless love.